Hi, first graders. Welcome to Envision 2020. This is the assignments page. Today we're going to just go over the assignments. We're not going to worry about this left-hand side toolbar. You can explore this at another time if you'd like, and we will be going over these another week. I will give you a suggestion. If you like math games, you might want to check out this tools and explore that another time. So the first thing I need to do is lesson 8-1. Why? You can tell I have 1, 2, and 3. So I must do the first one before I do the second video. We also suggest that you don't do more than one lesson per day. You can decide if you want to do 8-2 the next day or you want to wait another day because you need to do Dreambox. That's fine. You choose what works best for you. So 8-1. Yours will say get started, but this is Daniel's, and I've already been in there, so it says keep going. I'm not ready to send anything to the teacher yet because I'm not finished. So I'm going to click on Mr. Robot. That's my lesson. You'll notice that you're going to have to be patient when this uploads. We've noticed sometimes during the school day, it can take a minute or two to upload because there's so many things on here. Here is my lesson. There are 6 parts of a lesson, and you might think that's a lot, but the last 3 are the math magazine. Do you remember those from first grade that we did? Okay, so we have guided practice, which is the first page, independent practice, which is that middle page, and then that last backside is the problem-solving page. But before we get to that math magazine, we need to start from the very beginning, and this is the reason why we are learning today. I can read and write numbers 11 to 19. That's my purpose that I need to keep in mind while I go through each component of the lesson. Solve and share. Oh, there it is. So now we need to read this aloud. You'll notice that I'm reading a lot of things aloud because that's a great strategy for all of this math work to get in your brain. So I'm going to read it, and if I need help, guess what? It will read aloud to you. Use counters and 10 frames to show 12, then 15, and then 18. Draw your counters in the 10 frames below. Tell what is the same and if I'm not sure what that word is, I can use my reading strategies to help myself. If I'm still not sure what that word is, I can ask a parent or someone to help. But, your family's probably really busy too right now. So I would suggest you being a problem solver and figuring this out on your own by pressing the play button.
Use counters and 10 frames to show 12, then 15, then 18. Draw your counters in the 10 frames below. Tell what is the same and different about each number you show.
Oh, this seems easy. This seems like it might be something you've done before. Thumbs up if that's right. So, yeah, you probably have seen this before. I know that you've seen this before. So we're actually doing a lot of review just this week, so that way we are fully prepared for next week. And we just wanted to make sure that you get this because place value gets harder as we go on. So we want to make sure that you fully understand how to make these numbers. So 12, I'm going to use counters. And I know I have a 10 frame here. So I have one group of 5 plus 5 more makes 10. I don't need to count each one because I know there's 10 there. 11, 12. Okay, I know that there's 10 here. So I'm just going to fill that in because there's always 5 on each row. And 5 plus 5 makes 10. So there's 10. But how many more do I need to make 15? Well, I need one more row. It's okay if your counters go outside the box. It doesn't need to be perfect. See how I went a little bit outside? That's okay. We know that this is a little tricky to use at first. 18, I know that's one group of 10. It's not quite 2 groups of 10. If it was 2 groups of 10, it would be 20. So I could think it as 20. In order to get to 18, I would need to take 2 away. So it would be 10 and 8. Or I could think 10 and 5 is 15 with 3 more left over. So now I know 10 and 8 make 18. Now it's time for me to tell what is the same and different about each number. Okay, well, this is where I would talk out loud. If you want a challenge and you want to type this up to your teacher, that would be awesome. But don't feel like you have to do that because we know that can take some time. So I'm going to look at 12, 15, and 18. What's the same? The numbers are the same because they each have, what do they each have? Look at that top. They each have one group of 10. But the numbers are different because look at the bottom 10 frame. What do you notice about that bottom? Because the ones are not the same. 12 has, how many ones does 12 have? Well, there are 2 left over. 1, 2. 12 has 2 ones. How many does 15? How many ones does it have? 15 has, I don't hear you, has 5 ones, not 54, 5 ones. And what about 18? How many ones does it have? Here's one group of 10, and it has 8 left over. Has 8 ones. Okay, so now I need to go back and reread my sentence. Oh, I noticed I forgot something instantly. What did I forget? My punctuation mark. I can even move this so to read it easier. I can move this down here. The numbers are the same because they each have one group of 10. The numbers are different because the ones are not the same. 12 has 2 ones, 15 has 5 ones, and 18 has 8 ones. My teacher is going to read this and see my picture to know that I fully understand this. And I don't need any more help. So I'm going to go next to the arrow. This is the visual learning. Visual means that with your eyes that you're seeing it. And you will probably think, wait a second, we've kind of seen little videos about math before. They do look a little different because this is little Mr. Robot. He always starts
11,
at the beginning.
12,
I'm
13,
going to read this out
14,
loud. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and
what
not
do
20.
you notice about the numbers?
What do you notice? What's the same?
All of the numbers start with 1.
Oh, they do.
The other digit increases by 1 as you count from 11 to 19.
Increases. They go up. There's that 10 frame.
These numbers are made up of one group of 10 and some left over. How many counters are in the top 10 frame?
Select your answer.
10. So I need to make sure I do this activity. So if I can't get it to scroll up, keep trying till you get it in the tile in the box.
There are 10 counters in the top 10 frame.
That makes one group of 10. There's one counter left over in the bottom 10 frame. What number is one group of 10 and one left over? 10 plus 1. So it's asking you, you have to shout it out, 11. So I'm going to press play. 11. Okay, so now they're making another 10 frame. I'm going to see if I can figure out quickly how many there are. I see 15.
Without counting, can you tell how many counters are in the top 10 frame?
Definitely. So it's asking me a question, and it paused again but on its own because it wants me to say that out loud. How many counters are there in the top? 10. So I'm click play.
There are 10 counters. How do you know?
Because it's completely filled in.
When a 10 frame is filled, it shows 10. What is a group of 10 called?
A group of 10 is just called 110.
A group of 10 is called 110. There are 7 counters left over in the bottom 10 frame. What are the leftover counters called?
The ones.
Ones. What number is 1 10 and 7 ones?
Okay, so I should know this instantly because this is called a friendly 10. I know instantly that there's 17, but if I'm not sure, I need to go try it. Even if you are sure, we can tell if you go to try it or not. And if you skip this, let's say you think, oh, this is too easy, or I already know this and I want to move on, and you click the next activity button, your teacher will see that and she might think that, you don't know how to use this and that you might need some help. Or she might think that this might be too challenging and you need some help how to learn it. So we're not sure if you need assistance or not. So we definitely want you to make sure that you're going through the entire activity. So if I want to go back, I'm going to press the back button because I need to watch that video first. It will start over, but that's because I want to show you that you can fast forward. And right here, this is where it stops. This was the first place it stopped, the second, and the third place that it stopped.
There are 10 counters. What number is 1 10 and 7 ones?
So I need to click Mr. Robot. He'll definitely help me with this. So I have 10. Oh, look how the numbers are increasing by 1. They all 15, 16, now 17. So I have 17. I'll notice, watch what happens when I decrease. I take 1 away. Oh, it changes on its own. 16, 15. Now there are only 14, 13. Count backwards with me. 12. Now there are 11. And now there are 10. If I don't understand this, I can do it again, but I fully understand it. So I'm going to go next. Right here on this next button. If I press this, this will take me to the next activity. So I need to go down here at the bottom. Next.
1 10 and 7 ones make 17.
Correct, 17. There's the word. So let's see if I can figure out instantly how many counters are there. How many are there?
Without counting, can you tell how many counters are in the top 10 frame?
Yes, one group of 10.
There are 10 counters. There are 9 counters in the bottom 10 frame. What number is 1 10 and 9 ones?
10 plus 9 is 19.
1 10 and 9 ones make 19. What is the same about the numbers 11, 17, and 19? What is different about the numbers?
What's different?
They each have 1 10. They have a different number of ones. Now you know how to show numbers as a 10 and ones. Great job!
Thanks, buddy. So now I'm finished. And if you didn't understand something, you can go back and watch it again. But I fully understand this, so I'm ready to move on because I can think about my purpose for today was I can read and write numbers 11 to 19, and I understand. So now I need to convince my teacher that I do understand this, and I'm ready for lesson 8 too because I get it. How could you use 10 frames to show 13 counters? So I'm going to go over here. I can move the toolbar by going to the arrow down here and scrolling over. There we go. And I'm going to make a 10 frame by going to the stamp button. These are the counters. How many 10 frames am I going to need? There's one group of 10. I'm going to need 2 whole groups of 10 or just some left over. I'm going to use red counters. 7, 9, and now I have 10. So I have 10. How many more am I going to need? 11, 12, 13. So now I have 10 and 3. I showed a picture so my teacher would know that I get it, but I want to also show by numbers. Mathematicians can show their work by pictures, numbers, words, number bonds. There's so many different ways to show your understanding. So I'm going to go to the pencil and pick a color, and I'm going to show my teacher, I'm going to make that a little thicker, to show my teacher that I get 10 plus 3 left over equals, what does that make? 13. And it may not be your best writing. You'll notice that my plus sign looks like it needs a little help. There we go. It's a little tricky to write with this pencil tool, so just do your best. This isn't handwriting time. This is math time. So now I have 10 plus 3 left over. I know that because the 3 takes the 0 spot. I know that's a friendly 10. 10 plus 3 equals 13. There are 0 ones in 10, but 3 more makes 13. I could also even write with the text and type in words and tell my teacher how I know that a 10 frame can help me show 13 because I have 10 and 3 left over. If you make a mistake, you can press the little trash can or recycle because, it's Earth Day this week. So we want to make sure that we're recycling things and not just throwing them away. So if I click next, I'm finished. This might be a good time to take a break because we've been working for a while. Remember, you can click pause at any time to use the restroom or maybe go run in place, go run outside for a little bit. Make sure you get your parent permission. I'm going to run in place by counting backwards from 10. All right, you want to do it with me? Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm running faster. 3, faster. 2, 1, 0. Okay, after you've taken your break, you can go to the next activity, which is going to be those math magazines that you've seen before. This is when you have a choice. You have a choice to do the math magazines online digitally, or you can print them off or use paper and pencil. You might want to ask your family. If you don't have a printer, then you probably want to do it digitally. It's a little easier than just doing it on notebook paper. Or if you do have a printer and you want to take a break from the computer screen, that's good to do once in a while. Take those breaks. Then you can click here for 8-1 Math Magazine. There's also 8-2, 8-3, and the vocabulary card. So you can print them all off at one time. If I click here for 8-1, this is what it looks like. There's Buddy, and the visual learning bridge isn't actually on the digital version, but that's okay. Notice how 1, 2, and 3 are the same, 12, 14, and 15. 12, 14, and 15. So you choose. Do you want to do a paper and pencil? Or if you don't have a pencil, you can use a pen or crayon. Or are you going to use the digital version? So today I'm going to do the digital version, and I need to use counters to make each number. Then write each number as 1, 10, and some ones. Now, if you're using a paper copy, you might say, but we don't have counters. This isn't the classroom. You do have counters. I want you to take a look around your house and think about what you could use to help you with counters. So I bet a lot of you have things like Legos. I bet you might have a piggy bank with some coins. You could use nickels. Nickels are a good size for counters. Just make sure that you disinfect them. You can soak them in vinegar and disinfect, but you might want to have your parents help you with that. So just make sure you get your parent permission before you get those counters. So I'm going to use the toolbar, the stamp, And I can make a 10 frame, or if I know how to make a 10 frame without the table, I can just do it on my own. I know I have 5 and 5, so there's 1, 10, and now I have 2 left over. Now I'm going to write that. And again, you might notice it's a little tricky to stay within that box. It's okay. 12 is 110, and how many ones left over? 2 ones. And my handwriting is not the neatest here because it's a little tricky. That's okay. What about 14? Well, I could just draw all my counters if I wanted to do it that way. So I have 5 and 5, make 10, but how many left over? How many ones am I going to have? I might use a different color on this one. So I have 10, and now I need to make 14. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 looks like this. 14 is one group of 10 and 4 ones. 14 is 110 and 4 ones. Yes, I get that. So I'm ready to move on. What about that number 15? Okay, you can draw it. You can stamp it with a 10 frame and then fill it in. Or you can just use the counters without. And you can also use this side over here if you run out of room, the left-hand side. So I'm going to use red first. You could use yellow. So I'm going to stamp in 10. But how many ones does 15 have? There's 10. How many ones? We did this one already. So I have 10 plus 5 more makes 15. So 15 is 110 and how many ones? So I can't write because I haven't clicked the toolbar. So I need to go back, click the toolbar, and write 15. And it's okay, like I said, if it doesn't fit in the box. Notice how my number is outside of the box. That's okay. 15 is 110 and 5 ones. I get it. So now I'm ready for the next page, the arrow to the middle of the math magazine. If you're using the paper copy, yours will look like this. This is the inside, okay? And it's actually one less page than you're used to because you're used to a total of 4 pages and this is actually just 3 pages. So you're going to do the same thing. You might, like we talked about, use counters at home to make the number 16, but you'll notice here you have to write the word out. So you'll need to think about, how do I spell that word 18? How do I spell that word 17? Sometimes you might have to fill in the tens. Sometimes you might have to fill in the number. Sometimes you might have to fill in the ones. But this page is exactly the same as the middle page. After I finish the middle page, and if I need help reading this, okay, I might just have to use my reading strategies. So vocabulary, circle the tens and ones that match the words shown. Then I'm going to go to that next page. And that's the back side of problem solving. On your paper copy, it might look a little different. There's the word problem, 11, 12, and 13. So here it is, the Math Magazine digital version is coming up. There it goes. Okay, I want to go ahead and help you with this one down here on the higher order thinking. So choose a number between 11 and 14. Draw a picture to show how to make the number with 10 frames. Write the number and the number word. Okay, so you're going to choose a number between 11 and 14. So you choose. You could do 12, you could do 13, you choose. And you're going to write the number, what it looks like, and write the word out, and then you're going to again to draw your picture of how it looks with the 10 frames. When you're completely finished with this math magazine, you're going to go back to exit. And you want to send it to the teacher. Everything that you did is on here, and you can click it to make sure if you're worried that, did I not finish a spot? You can always go back and check before you turn it into your teacher. Friends, it's okay if you get something wrong on this. This isn't for a grade, whether you get a 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is a grade of whether or not you completed it. So this is just a time for us to look at it and to see how you're doing and to see if you are needing some help or not. So if I go here to solve and share, I can click on it to see if my work is there. It's loading. Have to show that patience. There it is. So I know that I'm finished. So I'm going to click exit. Now I can turn it into my teacher. Your family doesn't need to look at this. It's okay. They don't need to check your work because I bet your family is really busy. But if you have an older sibling or a family member that wants to take a look at it, they can do that after you're finished with Interactive Student Edition. They'll click on this and review your work. Then you're ready to send it to your teacher. Success! You completed this assignment. So look, it vanished because it went into this section, completed work. There it is. So if I go back to assignments, I now have 2 more. Remember what we talked about. You want to do 8-2 and 8-3 another day because we don't want to do all of these in one sitting. That would be a lot. So if I go back to the math magazine and I did that paper copy, I can take a picture of 1 or 2 of the math magazine and I can send that to my teacher. Or you'll just turn, but you still need to turn it in. Even if you turned in a picture of your math magazine with paper and pencil, you still have to turn it into your teacher so we can see that you did the visual learning, the solving, and the convince me part. So that's it, friends. Now I'm finished. You can now work on lesson 8-1. You do not need to do the first 3 parts, okay? Remember those first 3 parts? If I go back, the convince me and the visual learning and the solving, you don't need to do that because I did that with you. But if you're struggling and you're not sure what we just did and you feel like you might need some practice, this would be a good time to do that. So these 3 parts you don't need to do because we did them together. So you just need to work on the math magazine and then turn this into your teacher. We understand there might not be anything on these 3 parts, okay? So I'm going to click back, exit, and then you will be ready to go. Good luck. If you need any help, remember you can email your teacher, have your parents or someone in your family email us, and we'll be happy to help you. But it's okay if you don't finish all of this in one sitting. Remember, you can take breaks. All right, mathematicians, you got this. We can't wait to see your marvelous math work. Bye.